What's up, everyone? This is Karak from ACG, bringing you another review for another day from another game on another system. You know, at one time, the affable and loaded to the gills Carl Sagan once brilliantly said, "Extinction is the rule. Survival is the exception." And today's review speaks right towards that. It's for Icy by Inner Void, a game that explores a world that's one half like the movie The Day After Tomorrow and one half suicide motivator. Icy is a graphical choose-your-own-adventure game and RPG set in a world after our own has ended and a new world, apparently ran by wolves, has emerged. Trekking across the icy ruins of civilization, your job is to keep your nomadic family safe and sound, which is hilariously impossible because otherwise the game would simply be called Icy Let's Create a Bobsled Edition and everyone would be all happy-go-lucky. Not here. Here, snowmen are replaced by roving wild packs, Christmas carols by the sound of the dying, and eggnog by half-cooked questionable meat. Really, it's just all the best parts of eating at Sizzler. Let's check it out. So here comes the review for Icy. Strip clubs in the Arctic, people arguing during gun battles, senile sentient trees, and nomadic families. Remember, this review is caffeinated, which means delivered at sensational speed and without remorse for those left behind. Pretty much like the game. Graphics are up first. Ignoring the current market of pixel-heavy sim games and brandishing art the likes of which gets printed and put on nerd walls like my own, Icy goes for a painted look with areas during scenes having an oil-brushed appearance that's both fantastic and as rough as the lives of those sacrificial lambs made of man meat would expect. It's very beautiful in an artistic way, with characters having their own pop-outs sort of like Baldur's Gate and role-playing game avatar pictures, while larger areas are alluded to with rough, hewn oil painting look. For an indie game, they chose the perfect blend of workmanship and eye-catching scenery to really deliver an atmosphere. The overland map is also excellent, bringing back memories of older World War tabletop games, but again with that oil stroke filter and an almost role-playing map identity. It's just excellent. Now also the game runs fine, but that's because it'd probably run on a calculator. There are just really very few moving actual parts. Overall, a great aesthetic that's both interesting and accurate for this style of game. It also brings a dreary feel to everything that's fitting for a game about mutants, ice, and death. Moving on, as always, to sound, music, and voice. And sound is up first, and it's bare, it's basic even, and though that fits for a choose-your-own-adventure game, I would have liked a bit more than just the twang of arrows and the crash impact that are here, as well as a couple various other sound effects. It's a minimalistic approach that works, but also could do with some shoring up here and there with environmental sounds that are mostly absent throughout the game. And that brings us, of course, to my favorite, which is music, and I'm not really sure what to think here. The music is a discordant menagerie of effects running across basic tones, which result in a very atmospheric and dark feel, but it's also barely music for the most part. In fact, just think of it as basically the M in music, as bare as the game that it finds itself within. It really is going to be a love it or hate it, depending on your own ability to handle occasional tracks that sound like slum babies breaking glass bottles before a gang fight, running that through a Fruity Loops macabre filter. I will say this, it's a bold choice, it replaces a lot of the sound effects, it's just a little bit on the nose for me. Voice. You hear that silence? Me too. That's because there's none. Either the characters speak in Scientology, Thaden, Mind Braille, or they don't have any actual voice for the game. I'm going to go with the second choice here. Gameplay. This is straight up drink your own urine Bear Grylls style gaming at its best. This is a harsh survival in an oil painted world with tough decisions marked by excellent narrative depth. As a graphical adventure, you're not leaping landmines or jumping jeeps a la Uncharted. This is a fairly static affair with issues presented to you and you taking care of them by clicking the buttons that correspond to a bevy of skills or weapons that can be used at any one time. That's battle. Basically, you have hit points and so do the enemies, and you try to whittle them down like little human sticks of wood, hoping they run out of material before you do. Survival is the name of the game here, as is family, and you use an overland map to follow a plotline that involves slavery, kidnapping, sinister groups of overpowering, power, and the need to keep everyone alive without resorting to soccer team cannibalism. But there's a lot of RPG in this game as well, and it's great stuff. If you like these kind of games with a well-done inventory style that counts down things like burning material, money, health items, and so on as you traverse the world. Exploring and hunting can be done in various places, and quickly begin to find out that not just wolves and humans roam this land, but also mutants. Obviously altered by that one last working CD player with a Taylor Swift album on repeat, they are true terrors to behold. world. At all turns, the game offers this mixed mindset of maturity and mayhem, balancing the role-playing aspects with those more akin to typical choose-your-own-adventure games. Now, IC's statistics system sort of harkens back to my nerd days of playing role-playing games like World of Darkness, with things like exploration, stealth, intimidation, and scavenging abilities all well thought out and useful within the game. It's also far more complex than most graphical choose-your-own-adventure games would be, with those statistics playing out in choices and contingencies in various ways, because again, this is an RPG at its heart as well as a graphical adventure. I was just really pleasantly surprised that just because I didn't have an item to do something didn't mean I couldn't try using a particular skill in its stead. Also, I have to say that the random battles occurrence rates seem perfectly balanced. Sometimes you're groaning when you get set upon by angry wolves or the apparently winter-apt snow lynx, while at other times, travels were relatively sedate, leading you to explore and cultivate a feeling of truly being in an RPG. That is the game's core strength, that at first it appears like a fairly simple graphical adventure with RPG elements, but there's a great deal more to crash through here, including really a lot of dialogue. And though that puts the R in role-playing, additionally it's where there's sort of some places where IC's really hurt. The dialogue isn't spoken, which as any indie game, and with this much, would have tanked their budget. But the writing is a bit, it's odd. Dropping F-bombs and talking like you would expect while people are fighting for their lives, but the writing was just all over the place, with some very basic narrative at times, mixed with some excellently paced and interesting narrative at other times. It was either written by a diverse age and skill group or one person impacted by the headiest of occasional manic depressiveness. All kidding aside, it probably just needed a little editing. Additionally, there was one hilarious bug where a random party member just suddenly appeared in my group all "Sup, what's the haps people" style, with no warning during a battle, pretending he'd been there for the entire time. It was hilarious. I don't know how it happened or why it happened, and soon he just stopped talking and was then gone. The developers are patching the game right up until launch, and since that was the only bug I seemed to encounter, I'm not too worried about it. However, that's about all the bad I can say here. The game both offers a very interesting story with the duality of occasional moments of happiness interrupted by people being torn apart like the world's a giant wood shredder. Fun factor. Before we start, remember this. At times, the game makes the movie The Road seem like American Pie. It's dark as hell at times, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In fact, both of those never show up. But I had fun with it. It isn't going to be held aloft like Simba for the gaming world to bow to, but it's not bad at all and offers a diverse number of things to do, but at the same time being shallow enough that you can play it and step away when you want. To me, it offered a graphical style that was above where I would have expected, but then it takes the typical veering left turn at sound, music, and voice to save money, which are expectations not surprising to most of us, but a little bit disappointing nonetheless. I enjoyed exploring, eating strange game, hunting down evil groups, getting in fights, and usually defeating bandits. And of course the occasional infighting that occurs in survival games where people are battling over who gets to suck on the last rat bone. So I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or never talk about it again rating scale. This is easily a buy at $12.99 and even less upon release. The game offers graphic adventure fans and RPG fans a unique romp and a survival story with a length that's both excellent and also kept aloft by content which isn't the easiest to pull off when you consider it most likely involves death at the hands of nature at every turn and threatens starvation with the regularity of a ticking clock. But there you have it. It's actually fun, it's enjoyable, it's long enough, and the price is just right. So that's it for me. If you like the review, hit like. If you dislike to hit dislike. Share us on Twitter, tell your friends, whatever. Peace out.